What is up, all my hope dealers and hope healers? Welcome to my YouTube channel, my PhD, my prison history diploma. I did 10 years and 8 months in Florida Department of Corrections, and I've been out for over 15. So, as y'all know, when I rollerblade, I think about like the times in my life. And so today I did about 12 miles, and I was actually thinking about the one lieutenant that believed in me that actually changed my thinking of myself and the way that I chose to look at life. So, with that being said, as y'all know, during my incarceration, I discovered weed in the system, how to get it in, and sold little joints and smoked a lot of weed. And so I was a bit of a handful, I guess you would say. The correctional officers, some of them that knew chose to kind of turn the other way, and then of course you had some of them that just went after you hard. But also, as y'all know, I wrote pen pals, and so Florida Department of Corrections, they never had what was called a phone list. You could just like wild west call anybody you wanted, and so they implemented this thing called phone lists, and you could only have 15 people on the phone list. I think it was 15, and then you were cut off, and that was that. So because I was writing so many pen pals and I would make a ton of calls, I paid a friend of mine $20 a week to use her phone list or her inmate PIN number to call out to some pen pals that I had. And she agreed, and everything was humming beautifully. And all of a sudden, one day I get called to the assistant warden's office. And for anybody that's never been incarcerated, the worst thing that can happen is you get called either to the warden's office or the assistant warden's office. So when I got called to the assistant warden's office, I thought, oh God, what did I do now? Like, what am I caught in now? And she calls me into her office and she sits me down and she said, it's up to you whether you're going to lie to me or not. But I'm going to tell you that I already know the answer. Are you using blah, blah, blah's phone PIN to call people that are not on your approved phone list? And I'm sure you guys can take a wild guess what I did. I said, nope, wasn't me. And she said, okay. And then sent me on my way. And then later on that night, I get a copy of my disciplinary that was lying to staff. Now, just to break it down for you guys, there's different levels of disciplinary. And for those of you that are incarcerated, I don't know if that's across the board throughout the whole United States, but yeah. So anyway, lying to staff is by far one of the ones that carry the heaviest punishment. So it is 60 days solitary confinement and loss of all gain time. And I'm pretty sure it's the same as it was then. And I will tell you this, an officer can say that you lied about anything, and if they have it in for you, that is by far the most evil disciplinary that they can actually write you up on. You don't have a shot. But in this case, I did. I lied. So I get the disciplinary, I read it, and, I just basically let everybody know, hey, I'm about to go to solitary confinement, because I knew there was no way I was going to win. And it was from the assistant warden. So I also had a very strong gut feeling that I was going to get all my gain time taken away from me. And I think by then I'd been incarcerated for like 7 or 8 years. So with that being said, we get a new lieutenant from a men's prison. And this person got promoted from a CO to a lieutenant and had to leave the men's prison for the promotion to come to the women's prison. And this man was like 6'4", very obnoxious, yelled all the time, keep on walking, inmate, not the most friendly character in the land. So one of his big things that he used to do, and anybody that was in this prison with me, they know, who I'm talking about as soon as I do this, eat your birthday cake, inmate, because that's what he would do in the chow hall. And I would rush to eat, me personally, because I didn't want to hear this dude yelling anymore. It was just obnoxious. Like, it is very stressful to eat with somebody screaming at you. So, yeah, he was a bit intimidating. So, when you get a disciplinary, you actually go in front of a, I don't know, judgment. Anyway, it's classification, lieutenant, and a CO typically. 3 people on the, whatever, the team. And, you know, they call me in there and they read my disciplinary and they're like, how do you want to plead? And I'm like, I'm guilty. You know, I mean, there was no way around it. I was guilty for sure. And so he sends me out, brings me back in, and this new lieutenant, 60 days solitary confinement and loss of all gain time. So every piece of good time that I ever got, gone. So I go to solitary confinement and I get out and he says, he sees me and he's like, well, was it worth it? And I said, you know, it is. It is. Because I enjoy talking to people in the free world. So yes, it is. I like to know what's going on out there. And he walked away, just basically disgusted. A couple days later, he pulls me aside and he said, listen, you are a diamond in the rough. And he said, you need to know your own value. You're intelligent, you're articulate, you're creative. He's like, but you don't see it. And he's like, you need to see what I see in you and what most people see in you. And I was like baffled. I could not believe that somebody was actually, this man actually was saying kind words to me. And he was the first male correctional officer that didn't have a motive. And thank you, sir. So, I mean, he helped me for a good 1.5 years, 2 years. And because now, not at first did I stop all my shenanigans, just so y'all know, but slowly but surely, I started becoming what he saw in me. And I stopped smoking weed in there and I stopped selling weed in there. And I thought, you know, there might be something to this, what this lieutenant sees in me. And I remember one day we were having a conversation and, you know, I was telling him like, gosh, you know, thank you so much, sir. You're almost like an earth father to me because my biological father is not in my life. And this man, even though we had very few and far between conversations, when we did, and it was at least once a day, and we probably got like 15, 20 minutes where we can converse without people starting rumors. But those 15 or 20 minutes, he would actually speak words of life into my spirit. And one day we were talking, and I jokingly said, you know, it would be cool if I could get my gain time back. And at this time now, I'm able to work outside the gate because my sentence is almost over. So maybe that was 6 or 7 years in. But anyway, my sentence was almost over and I'm working outside the gate and I hear my name and it says report to the lieutenant's office. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing anything wrong. But, you know, I still was scared that they were calling me in the lieutenant's office. And I go in there and this particular lieutenant said, hey, I got promoted and I'm leaving here and I'm going to a men's prison. And he's like, but I wanted to call you in here so you could read this email. And he goes, stand behind me. And I stood behind him and it was an email to head of classification, bullet pointing why I should get, if not all, but some of my gain time back and why he recommends that I go to work release. That was the ultimate belief in me. Like that man not only said words of life to me, but he actually sent an email to head of classification why he thinks that I was a good candidate for work release and receiving my good time back. He left a week later. About a week after that, I got called into classification in front of the major head of classification and my classification officer. I was approved for work release. I got most of my gain time back. And about a week later, I left for work release. So this video is to you, sir. You're amazing. Thank you so much for believing in me, and I'm still doing good. We're not allowed to contact COs no matter what. It is their career. So this is my only way to say thank you. Thank you, sir. And I salute you. You're one of the most amazing people that's ever come into my life, and I thank you. And every day that I succeed, I think about you. So not only is this video for my formerly incarcerated people, hope dealers and hope healers, but I want to talk to you COs specifically. You can make an impact on somebody's life. All I ask is you try it. Try to believe in one person. And that doesn't mean you have to be soft. That means that maybe words of life could change somebody's course. Maybe they'll succeed just because you said, hey, I believe in you. I think you can succeed. Please, please try it. I love the COs that do this now. Thank you so much for being a hope dealer and a hope healer and spreading light in a very dark place. And for all my hope healers and hope dealers, thank you so much for being here. I love all of y'all. And if you've had a CO say, breathe words of life into your spirit, drop a comment below. And if you've had a CO that hasn't been very kind to you and they've come in and wreak havoc, just know it's not about you. It's probably about them. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all.